Public Works Committee meeting of Tuesday, October 18, 2022 at 5:30 p.m. Item number 1. Call to order. Roll call, please.
Chair White.
Here.
Trustee McBroom.
Here.
Trustee Merrill. Here.
Item number 2, approve the minutes of our last meeting.
Approve the minutes, September 20th, 2022 Public Works meeting.
Second.
Any additions, corrections to the meeting minutes?
I noticed.
All right. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
That was unanimous. Item number 3, comments from the floor. We've got 5 empty chairs. Takes us to item number 4, snow removal contract discussion and possible action. Patrick.
So I did not have enough time to put a statement together to get to all of you. I think I sent out last month the changes that Zappa Brothers were willing to make. And you also wanted to speak, or wanted me to speak with the village attorney on some language in the contract. Melissa talked to Paul today. His comment was to leave the contract alone. And that was just his opinion, so I'm sharing that with you. So I guess I have some other stuff that I want to say, but I don't need to right now. I guess if you need to hear what I say, then tell me that, or just vote.
Well, as I recall, we were looking for, should we have a penalty thing in there? Apparently, the attorney didn't think we needed it. Mm-hmm. And the other thing I think Mary brought up is, or one, or maybe both of you, that maybe you could be a little more aggressive in managing out that $6,000. And the new contract is 6 instead of 7. And just history-wise, since when I first came on the board, it was 35,000. So we've year by year gotten it a little lower. I think 6 is probably about as far as Gary's going to be willing to go to back us up. And the rates are the same, and the rates are the same.
That's
Usually they go up.
Well, they have the last 2 years gone up, but
Oh, have
that's
they?
because of everything
Yep.
else.
Okay.
Yeah.
So any comments from the committee?
No, I concur. I think we should we leave it at the lowest level of authority, which is our Public Works Director. I will not change anything. If something happens, then he can bring it to us, but I think we should leave it in Patrick's hands.
Then I would encourage Patrick, if he has difficulty getting them to come again this next snowfalls, that he bring it to our next Public Works meeting so we can discuss what we want to do.
Yep.
Does that seem fair? Does that seem fair?
Mm-hmm. Well, now you make me want to tell you what I was going to tell you.
No?
Tell us.
All right, it's your call.
Oh, I just wanted to say, I understand that everybody was upset with the big snowfall that we had, the first one last year, but I'd like to point out a few things that, first and foremost, in the 6+ years that I've been here, I've never had a problem with Zappa Brothers not responding to me. He's always been really good about that. Whenever I call, he answers the phone at any time of day or night. We're both up at very odd hours, so.
Last water main break is proof of that?
He always answers me. No matter what he's doing, he always answers. That first snowfall is not a regular occurrence. That was quite a snowfall, and I get it. I'm not going to promise you that it won't happen again this year. I wouldn't do that, but it is sort of a irregular occurrence. And then with that being said, there was me and one other Public Works employee. The one had quit to go work somewhere else for more money. The employee that we had was really young and really inexperienced. I did not have a whole lot of time to train. I tried keeping the main roads as passable as I could. But I do want to say, and I'd like to say it on TV, the amount of calls that I received those 2 nights and during the day on the emergency phone, that's for emergencies, and I get it, I understand that some of those situations could have turned into an emergency, but some of the calls that I got were, when is my cul-de-sac gonna get cleaned out, and when is, who's plowing the roads, and this isn't clean, and that's not clean. That all slowed me down because I can't run a piece of equipment like that and talk on the phone, so I had to stop every time, and I have to answer that phone because I'm on call and it's my responsibility to do that. The second day of plowing, I was going around the corner and the wing fell off the truck. I didn't expect that. Nobody would have expected that. It was just some bolts that broke. They rusted and they fell off. So I drug it back to the shop and I took the wing off and I kept going. And with that being said, I'm going to extend an offer to anyone who wants to ride along and see what happens out there, the obstacles that we have to go around, what it's like. I truly don't think that people understand what it's like. I know there are some people out there that understand because they do this type of work. But as for the general public, I don't know that you really truly understand. And I would be more than willing to take you along and just show you how not fun it is sometimes. Sometimes it's really fun. I have a blast. I'm not gonna lie to you, but sometimes it's not fun at all. And that snowstorm was not fun at all. So I just want to tell you that.
Okay.
So I'm hearing you, Patrick, ask the citizens that if it's not an emergency, to not use the emergency number especially during a snowfall.
Yeah.
When you're out there.
That really throws things off because one of the 3 of us is going to have that phone. So whoever has to, and you have to answer that phone. We have to answer that phone. You understand that. So when we have to answer the phone, we have to stop, and we have to stop plowing.
So water main breaks, people that have been like stuck in their homes and have an emergency, need to get out, those sorts of things would be appropriate times to use that emergency number.
And those types of things, I will drop everything. All 3 of us will drop everything and come and take care of it. I guarantee you that. But please don't call and ask me when your cul-de-sac. I mean, we're doing the best we can.
And so people know the snowplow route is on the village website. So anyone that wants to know
Yeah,
can go and take a look and see what the priority of the street, the order of the plowing is.
Yep. So that's all I got to say. That was my vent.
Thank you.
Okay. Anything else?
Thanks, Patrick, that was
Enlightening?
pretty insightful. Thank you.
All right, if not, I need a motion, I guess, to approve the 2022-2023 snowplow contract.
I move to approve the 2022-2023 snowplow contract with amendment to the $6,000 for the base level, guaranteed.
Second that motion.
All right, that's a spending issue. Mary?
Yes.
Yes.
And yes, it passed. Item number 5, installing meters on waste and wastewater main, discussion only.
We can skim over that. I didn't get that far.
Okay, you want to briefly describe what we're talking about, even though you're not?
Yeah, basically what I had brought up was that, and you talked about it a little bit too, is that to have some type of metering for our wastewater, because it's basically, from what I understand, I know it's a formula, but it's not real accurate.
I talked to
Or it cannot be accurate.
I talked to the DNR about using water to measure our wastewater, and they said they know that some people do that. They don't consider that very accurate. So that's why we really want to find out how much we're sending over to Hudson, and so we need meters to do that, and I've asked Patrick to pursue finding out what it would cost.
Okay.
So that'll be coming down the road.
I'm also investigating the water, just
And the
because
water.
of all the goings on, and that, maybe the water is needed by us, I think was stated, which I strongly disagree. I used to drill wells, and I know how the quantities they put out. We have 2 wells in North Hudson that run at about 27% capacity all year, so.
And the thought was that Hudson was needing to supply us, and we know of about one fire that they might have pulled water from Hudson, that was down in the shop yards years ago. But other than that, we think the water's going the other direction. And we just want to be able to tell what water is being used, how it's being used. It'll help us with the water contract, and the sewer part will help us with the sewer contract whenever we get to that.
And you guys I did send you that little snip of the, was it 15?
Yeah,
Sanitary-
2015.
Sanitary survey, just so you kind of had an idea where I was going with this.
Can you talk about that a little bit, Patrick? I read it, and I don't have your experience. So what the part that you had highlighted, if I've understood this right, is that the capacity evaluation, that the utility, meaning all of us together, are more than capable of providing water during average conditions, but it can't meet during peak demand during fire conditions, or if a well pump went down, or there's a prolonged power outage during peak pumping events. And if water use continues to grow as predicted, and this was 2015, so I would assume it has, even with all the existing wells in service, pumping will be 24/7 for some wells. And placing MW10 into service and installing a larger north-south connection main would mitigate this. Is that the
So,
correct
yeah,
section? Can you
that's,
explain that?
That's municipal well number 10, which is online now.
Where is
that's-
that?
That's the new well. It's up by the north, or south, sorry, of the theater. Out,
So it's on the Hudson side?
yeah.
Okay.
Yep. And then the next step would be to put that 12-inch main under the Lake Malibu.
And so the who provides water to whom, how does that matter in the scheme of the agreement, the water system that we have?
It doesn't matter in the scheme of the agreement. The reason why I brought it up is because it was stated multiple times that the water maybe wasn't needed in Hudson as much as it was needed in North Hudson, and I'm just trying to give you a little bit of background, a little information.
We had, in 2015, there was a period of time right around that assessment where they went through different personnel. And we got one story from one personnel and another story from the next personnel. So that's a 2015, when did we get those? Every 3?
3 years.
So there's been a 2018 out since then that you should get your hands on,
And a 21, right?
and a 2021.
So where are these located? Are they,
I can send them to you.
yeah, that would be
Yeah,
great.
I'd
Have they
like to see it
updated
again.
that evaluation, or?
I know I got sent to me, but I don't remember.
I guess I'd have to look at it. I'll send them
Yeah.
to you.
Yeah, I don't
So-
remember anything real big on the next two.
Okay. So the MW10, we don't know maybe the impact of that is in the more current evaluations or
Well, that's
capacity
I
evaluation?
mean, it's a new, they put a new well online, so.
Right.
That would definitely boost.
The production on that's
Yeah.
on the other side of the,
But we would not see any effect from that because it's so far away.
okay.
Okay, any other questions on the meters?
So is that, well, I have a question. Is that something that gets discussed at the water meeting, if that's a need? Or is that on our side of the payment agreement in our
It'd be us.
current?
It's, I don't even know if it needs to be discussed right now during the water agreement, but I have a feeling it'll come up later, so that's why I brought it up. And it was stated in 2018 at a meeting, Public Works meeting, and it's, I just wanted to speak to it.
So the expense of that would all fall on the village?
They don't think
Us.
they don't think they need it?
But we're thinking we need them,
Yes.
and the expense of it would be a village expense, or it's an expense of the utility?
The expense of what?
The meters?
The meters?
Yeah.
It would be an expense of ours, of the villages, yes.
Okay.
Yep. But it would be, and I haven't figured that out, but there would be a definite return on investment on that, I believe.
Sure.
Me too. Anything else on that subject? If not, item 6 is chair update. And this is the last meeting before Halloween, I wanted to make sure that everybody's aware that there are warnings out there about the candy this year. Fentanyl getting put into candy wrapper bags, so be careful with your kids and the candy, and be safe out there. We always hear that there's not enough lighting out on our streets, but the lighting is not there for the walkers. As the chief keeps telling us, it's there for public safety and vehicles, but not so much for the walkers. So be alert, keep your eyes open, keep your kids safe, and have a happy Halloween. That's all I got on that. Item number 7, engineer report.
It's passed out since we're kind of going through that budget period. This is Patrick and I talked about it and went through our CIP plan just to kind of see what's sitting out there for upcoming years. 2023, just chip sealing. Well, you guys are coming off of 2 major projects between the 35 and the Wisconsin Street. So just looking at doing chip seal in 2023, 2024, there's 3 things, I guess, on the docket. Lemon Street, that's the curb and gutter and sidewalk in front of the school. There's some needs out there. There's a hydrant that needs to be relocated. Browns Beach, that's the project that's been awarded or forthcoming. There is going to be funds, just waiting for the official contract to come from the DNR. That's supposed to happen here at the beginning of next year. And then 5th Street, that's the last of your LRIP funding that you're awarded. And there's a sunset date on those funds. It's about $22,000, and that is June 30th of 2025. So you would need to have that completed in 2024 to have everything ready for your reimbursement.
I'm kind of thinking not in 2023, because, just to give the residents on that side of town a little break from road construction.
Yep.
That's just my thought.
I'll take a break too.
Which street are you talking about
5th
now?
Street.
Fifth?
So
I thought, when does it have to be spent by?
2025.
Yeah, so 2024 is when we
would
have
like
it
to
in.
get done.
Yeah, a couple of years out. Patrick, I mean, he does have some things going on underneath the road with utilities and things. Something for discussion. With these types of funds, you are allowed to do a one-time substitution, so you can try to allocate that to another street if the timing's just not going to be conducive. So that's one thing to consider. And then Monroe Street, that's actually the project we applied for those BIL funds. That list came out here about a month ago. They had an overwhelming amount of apps, as you can imagine. There was about $700 million that was requested for about $25 million that was actually awarded. So there was not a lot of projects that fortunately got funded through that. Apparently, there's going to be another round of applications this fall for just the local share.
Okay,
I haven't seen any information on that yet, but
we'll go after it
I would,
sometime this fall.
yep, at least that's what we've been told.
And that's for 2025, Monroe?
Yes. Yep. Galahad Road, 2026. There's some things out there we'd like to do, whether it's pedestrian and some drainage. The street's fairly old, trying to do some storm sewer improvements. The retaining wall, that's been sitting out there for a while, Riverside Drive, deterioration of the caps and the blocks on the upper level. And then Patrick's got some things going on up on North End Road with the water main, couple breaks in that area, so we kind of put that on the radar screen that there are some things that are happening up on that stretch.
North End's a new one from when we looked at it this summer, right?
Yes,
And what's the estimate for that?
that's, I mean, we're trying to figure out exactly what the project limits are gonna be.
So when we say this is a living document, that's what we mean by it. These guys are giving us notice, that's something they're gonna look at, and then they'll go get pricing and come back to us, so.
It's just difficult to give a number, like Kevin said, because we're not sure where that bad pipe's gonna end up at.
So the estimate on here of 198 is not, that's a fairly rough estimate at this point.
Right, just budgetary
Had
purposes
more
for
than one on
now.
North End? Or just one?
Which one? But two vans were put on.
Okay. Because we had 2 in 1 year on A Street, and I've always been worried about A Street.
And 3 and 2 years on East
Oh,
Street.
3 and 2, that's right. And I keep, holding my breath that another one's gonna go on that pipe.
Yeah.
So I worry about 8th Street too. Maybe you could just put 8th Street under North End on here as something for us to remember.
Yep, we can put that on there.
One of those is wintertime, if I remember right. Or was it spring? Just, I remember one of them being
Spring, I remember.
Cold.
I remember, yeah, it was cold.
Okay. Any other questions for Kevin on this?
No love for Riverside?
I have a Riverside project on here.
Down the road?
Not on the road, no. We haven't looked at that yet. I'm not saying we shouldn't. I mean, where does it fall on the, what do we call it, the Pacer? Riverside, do you know off the top of your head?
I don't know off the top
We
of my
don't have
head.
our
I don't
pacer
thi-
ratings
I don't
here.
think it's
Mary, you got
terribly
'em?
high, but
Yeah.
it's kind of one of those,
I'd ask.
yeah, I mean, certainly we can discuss it.
When were the Pacers last updated?
I'm actually in the process of doing them again. I did it last year and we didn't have to.
Okay.
Because there was some glitch or something in the system, so they sent out the notices and I quick did it, and then after I did it, they sent out the notice that, oh, you don't have to do it this year.
So we're gonna do it,
I'm doing it right now,
you're doing it right now.
or trying to start.
You think you'll get it to us in this year, or maybe more next year?
Yeah, I'll get it to you this year.
This year? Okay. So that'll give us something to talk about too.
It has to get done by, this is the 15th of December, I think,
December
so
of
I'll
this
have
year.
it done. I'll have it done.
Make sure they understand what a Pacer rating is.
It's just, so I don't have the material with me, but so the state, whoever, has a book, and we've had training also, but I just always keep the book with me so I can show who's ever my new employees are. We go out and drive around and it shows the different stages of road deterioration. And we go through each section of every road in the village and evaluate, and then give rating numbers to them. And then that's how, it's also a good tool to use for what projects we want to do, or where we want to chip seal, where we want to spray patch, things like that. So,
Just a very useful tool. And
but if
we're-
you need more explanation, just.
We're required
reach
to
out.
do it, so.
Good.
But we do base our projects off of it, and therefore our spending is impacted by it. Okay. Engineer, anything else?
I have a question for Kevin.
Sure.
You talked last time about the DNR punch list at the Derrick thing, and did that get done, or do we know where that's at?
Boy, I don't know if those are all
No,
been
they are
taken
not.
care of yet.
Not done?
No.
Okay.
Anything else for Kevin? If not, that takes us to item number 8, Director Report. Patrick, anything else?
I just remembered what I was supposed to talk about, and I'm not prepared for it. I guess the small things that I need to talk about is, we're kind of getting ready for snowplowing season, because that's going to come fairly soon, sooner than we want it to. So, getting all that stuff ready, doing some last mowing. If you guys have a chance, drive up through Chief Jansen Park and see what the goats and the inmates did. It looks pretty good up there. Opened up quite a bit of space, so it'll be a little more usable area for folks to do whatever in. And they did seem to be, people seem to like it. I got a lot of feedback on it, so I enjoyed it, so I'm glad that people enjoyed it as well. I was supposed to give an update on the last water service agreement. I don't have anything prepared with me. I can talk, I guess, high level if you would like me to, or I can send you an email with the.
You mean the
minutes.
meeting?
Actually, did
You mean
you
the
guys get
WSA meeting?
Yeah,
It
didn't
didn't
you guys
work.
get the, it didn't work?
She tried to send it, but she was, what she sent us was actually a link off of the network drives here, so we couldn't actually open the link.
Okay.
So
All right.
I talked to her a couple times, she's still gonna try and get us that
Yeah,
recording. It's sad that we can't get it on TV,
you're
but
stretching my head, but, so what was it we spoke, we did do some discussion, about hydrant flushing, and it was basically, kind of a frustrating conversation for me, but, at the end of it all, it was, I'm pretty sure they know that it was communicated, when I handed over everything, that those hydrants needed to be flushed. So, they're working on it now. I get a text message every day from somebody that they're in North Hudson flushing hydrants, so,
Okay.
that just to me,
they're catching up.
they are trying. It's getting awful late, but, you know, it is what it is. What else did we talk about? Yeah, I'm not gonna remember everything. So, the question was brought up, and asked. We did not answer. Melissa did not answer. They talked about the, monopole, ordinance that we talked about at our last board meeting, which,
We don't need to hear about that, that's not part of the WSA.
oh, I got you. I'm just trying to remember
Okay.
some stuff, because I don't
Well,
have
let us-
anything in front of me.
you know
So I
what,
could
this-
send you an email with a summary.
Sure, and if you could maybe help Melissa to get that file out to us, because then we could just listen to it.
Okay,
too.
I can
And
do
that-
my
that-
best, I guess.
Yeah, well, if you can't, let me know. and
Sure.
I'll come up and help.
Okay.
And Patrick, the next one will be in the village, and so we will be able to have it open, and will we be able to get it played on the River Channel? Oh,
They
that'll be
will-
great.
When they're here, they will
That'll be
be on
great.
the River Channel.
That's
Yep.
super.
So I
That'll
apologize
save
for
Melissa
not-
from having to try and send a file.
I just thought of it when I when I looked at the director's report that you had asked me to report, so I apologize. I was not
problem.
prepared. And yeah, that's about all I got right now, I guess. Oh, they delivered the shingles for the roof today, so.
This roof?
hopefully- Yeah, so hopefully we'll get that.
So that's coming?
soon.
Is that a hail damage repair thing? Okay. And the status on just, I'm not sure if you found out yet today, but the status on the last layer of asphalt for St. Croix?
Oh, yeah, so they were gonna do it yesterday. Obviously, the temperatures weren't very conducive, and then they were supposedly gonna do it today. I didn't receive any call, but I kinda had an idea that it probably wasn't real good temperature for that either, so.
It's pretty cold
I would
out
assume
this-
once it gets a little warmer, they'll go ahead and do it. It's not gonna take very long, and it'll make for a much better road if they wait until the temperatures are up a little bit, so.
Yeah, and we know that that's coming. I mean, Friday's 64, Saturday's almost 70, so, or Sunday is 70. Anyway, that's what they're saying. But the warmer weather will make it easier for them to do. But we're not complaining, and we do have at least one layer of tar down, which makes it easier for people to traverse, so,
It's passable.
yeah.
I mean, it always has been, but it's better now.
Yeah. All right, any questions for Patrick?
I did go look at the little caboose locomotive.
I
Very
did too.
cute.
It is
Very
kind of
cute.
cool.
Please tell the guys, because they worked hard on it, Matt and Bill.
Matt and Bill, it looked great.
All right. Item number 9, Public Works capital equipment, current and future budgeting, discussion only. So, we have, all right, explain this first sheet, what you're doing here. This is an expense sheet?
Yeah,
Yeah.
those are my main accounts, so I just kind of put that together today, actually finished it up,
So, and this
so you
is,
can see. if there's increases or decreases in anything, that those are bold.
And this is what, at the next special finance committee meeting, which is tomorrow, we'll be going over with the finance committee. But since we have it before the meeting, if you guys have any questions, there's that one obvious one there, the 5,000 to 34,900.
That is an increase. So, yeah, that, obviously last year, we did 5,000. And then this year is basically, not all, but most of the capital stuff that's on the list that I had given, handed out, the snowplow, the snow and skeleton bucket for the skid steer, utility trailer,
It's the stuff that's in our doubles, our,
Tommy
this
lift.
this sheet, right?
Yeah, those things, those are all capital items.
And that makes up, that comes up to the 34,900.
Yeah.
So if that helps.
It should, anyway, if I'm correct.
Utility costs are going up, I see. To be expected for everybody, I guess. Communications, why the jump on that one?
Where are you at?
Second page, utilities, communications. 2,500 to 4 grand? Are you just noticing that our costs are going up, or?
You know, I honestly can't answer that because ours have stayed the same as far as public works. So unless that is, I'll ask it, Nathan.
Yeah.
He goes through like this stuff. the
He's looking at what we
utilities
spent.
and whatnot. Yeah, he
Oh.
and I go through this, and then he, does a really good job of explaining. that,
Okay.
Hey, we're going to be right here at the end of the year, so you should probably increase that budget. So
Got it.
That's what that's all about. But I will make a note and I'll get you an answer.
Well, need it, just for sure, we need it tomorrow. Same on the fuel. He's looking at the fuel and saying we're spending that much more.
Yeah.
Okay,
Well,
okay.
I mean, that's. to be
Well, that's,
expected.
yeah, it is with the gas prices doing what they're doing to us.
Also, Patrick, the snow and ice contract showing 8,000.
Yep. Because I can bring it down to 6. It's just, I put 8,000 in there because we initially had 7,000 to pay out, so I didn't wanna, I can reduce that to 7. I hate to get
That tight.
that tight because what if we go over by a little bit and then I have to come back and say, hey, I need $50, guys,
You're budgeting for the expense, not for the minimum that
Yeah.
is guaranteed in the contract. That's what you
Not to say
anticipate.
that we'll go over, but if that were to happen, I try to leave a little bit of, but I can certainly change that.
No,
Nope.
I wouldn't. Unless you guys want him to. Leave that one? Okay. All right, otherwise it looks pretty self-explanatory. Any questions for Patrick on the budget items?
So the things that weren't in the, we never moved anything forward for ARPA to the board. You had the duplex sanitary lift and the HVAC. Or is any of that going to be in either the budget or move forward for ARPA?
I didn't put it in.
HVAC,
budget.
what I said to Melissa, I mean, I know these guys maintain it, but that's really an admin side cost, and I don't think she disagreed with that. But what was the first one?
The Riverside
Control panel.
Drive North duplex sanitary lift station control panel.
Were we using ARPA on that?
Well, that was a thought, and that's why I've held off on it, so I guess I'm kind of waiting for some direction. I don't know.
And we got quotes, we know what it's gonna be, right?
Well, we had
Had
quotes
quotes.
a year ago. I'm guessing those have changed.
What's holding us up? I can't remember, I'm sorry.
We had discussed it, and then it was a possibility that could be funded with ARPA funds. And then I just kind of left it be.
And I think I asked if it could come out, if it was something that could come out of the sewer fund as what, if it was an expense that belonged in the sewer fund, or should it be ARPA?
Yeah, so I guess that's something that we can discuss.
When it gets paid for, it will get paid for and land on those funds, right? one way or
I
the
would
other?
assume so, yeah.
Yeah.
Out of which funds?
Is it 210? Is this a 210 thing?
Yeah, I think so.
So
Yeah, and we got the money in 210.
Is that the sewer fund?
Yeah.
But
So should that go, does that go in the budget or does that happen someplace else?
It's a finance committee discussion thing. I think we just,
I made a note of it, so it is.
so we're gonna talk about it?
Well,
We
yeah,
need just
I
to
mean,
decide where, are we using ARPA funds for this or putting ARPA funds, leaving those aside and using sewer fund for
Because I
this?
think I think you made a very good case, Patrick, that it needs to happen, that there,
Oh,
that
yeah.
we need to.
It does, and I don't want to drag my feet because you guys, I know you two weren't here before, but it was crazy. It made me nuts when we had to order the pumps that went down and we were getting called in every other day to unplug them. And we had to wait 6 months to get new pumps. So I don't want to wait that long.
Those pumps, ordering those pumps on those things, I mean, they just don't have them sitting on a shelf. They gotta,
So, and I'm guessing with everything that's gone on in the last 2 years that hasn't gotten any better.
Right.
So I'm trying to keep it, at least talking about it so that you're aware.
Well,
okay.
it seems like we should, it should move forward, so I don't know if it goes to finance or wherever, but it seems like that really is an important
Yeah, I lost track of
priority.
that one.
Yeah, I'll make a note, I'll bring it up tomorrow so that we talk about it at least.
Can we, okay, anything else on budgeting? Because I'm gonna ask to put that on a future agenda,
What?
that discussion for us,
The control panel?
control panel.
Okay.
So we don't lose sight of it.
Yep.
Anything else on budget? Okay. That takes us to item number 10, future agenda items. As I said, that control panel, we don't want on a future agenda item. Do you guys have anything?
Not,
That'll answer an ARPA question for us, too.
Yeah, yep. Maybe you could put those both on there in case one leads to the other, and we can discuss them both then.
I'm okay with that. Put ARPA on there, too, then. Or control panel slash ARPA.
Just the ARPA funding, is that what you're saying?
Well,
If we're gonna move something forward, we should move it forward because the funds aren't gonna be all spent by other areas.
yeah, we should get your wish list. We
We've
should
got-
address your wish list
we're- I
sooner than
think-
later.
Okay.
I think we're about there's about 100,000, a little over 100,000 not accounted for right now. Do you remember how much that?
I thought I sent that out.
How much
Or
the control panel
updated.
was?
Sorry.
Updated wish list?
I thought I did.
You
Yeah,
did.
you did.
You did.
Okay.
But do you remember about what those control panels cost? You know?
I would say 30 to 40, probably.
Yeah, you had like 37 to 42, I think is.
Yeah,
what you
something
had.
like that.
So it's kind of be coming down to, probably the finance committee and looking at the ARPA requests that are out there and looking at Fund 210, and they'll make a call on where to spend it. But we should get it done, or at least on order. How long does it take to get one of those?
I haven't been given any idea on that.
We're doing some panels over in Village of Woodville, and they've told us a year out.
Oh, well, we should
Oh.
definitely get them ordered.
Yeah, it's just that the components that are inside of them.
Jeez.
It's just crazy that way.
Are they making them out of gold, or?
It's quite a lead time.
I suppose all these components now are getting harder and harder to get our hands on. All right, any other future agenda items? If not, we are adjourned at 6:08 PM.